And today our lessons that we're going over for April are feedback and growth. So Tammy, let's start off with your finances. Okay, I'm going to take all the Great, thank you. What does feedback look like with numbers?
So when you say feedback, most people think that feedback is what people say about you or your business. But there's another kind of feedback that's just as important. So your business is constantly giving you feedback from your numbers. And examples of that would be revenue trends, expenses creeping up, taxes high, your books are records of what's actually happening, not what's being and your numbers don't reflect that, which is really important. They have a pattern.
It's important. It's sort of emotionally
Yeah.
we approach finances.
Yes.
So we are looking over our numbers. So what should we be having to do to get this feedback?
So feelings are underlying, right? And we all, like you said, get emotional about our numbers.
Yeah.
You can feel busy though and not be profitable, and you can feel slow even when you're not. So what the feedback that your numbers are giving you as a person, they tell you what's working, what's not working, where your business is losing money or time, and the idea here is that your numbers tell you the truth that your brain tries to avoid.
Yes. Now, once we look at this feedback, right, our brain's working around trying to make sure we're not looking at finances.
Right.
But what are some specific examples of feedback that you kind of get from people?
So feedback is not really positive or negative when it comes to your numbers. It's just data. It's just information. So what feedback is that maybe you're income up. So something is working and you want to recoup what that is. Or it could be that your expenses are increasing and that's something that needs attention to, right? So cash flow could be tight, but that might be a timing problem and not necessarily an income problem.
I love that you bring up this because a lot of people look at their finances month to month and they don't realize that sometimes it's an issue when they're bringing in the income versus the overall amount.
Exactly. So if you're surprised at tax time though, your books were trying to tell you something months ago. That's the key. So financial surprises are just really delayed feedback.
Delayed feedback.
Yep.
Now, how do you know if it's real feedback that's going to lead to a spoiling tax time or is it just how they want on that?
That's a great question. So if it's one weird expense or one slow week or one late payment, you don't have to act on those. Just have to acknowledge that they happen. If it happens once, it's just noise, right? If it happens twice, then you just start to pay attention. And then if it happens 3 times or more, then that's a consistent signal. And you want to look at monthly trends. You want to compare periods. You want to look for any repetition. Because patterns are very useful.
So say if we bring it to our books and business owners can do that.
So rule 1 is don't panic, right?
Always rule number 1.
You don't have to overwhelm everything. That would be the wrong thing to do with anything.
You still feel better.
But you don't want to ignore it either. You just want to adjust one thing. So maybe you need to raise a price. Maybe you need to cancel a subscription you're not using anymore to make your expenses more aligned with your current business practice.
I find a lot of business owners have that. It's either finding their flow, finding the processes and systems that work well for them, and then they sign up for something to get them.
Yeah, absolutely. So you don't need to fix everything, but you do need to respond to what's repeated because your books are talking to you every month. So the question isn't whether you're getting feedback, it's whether you're listening.
I love it because, like I said, our whole month's discussions feedback and how it makes us grow. And I thank you so much for coming on talking about finances and numbers. I find so many business owners that are like, I just want to find a book person who thinks numbers to talk to, and you definitely gave some different ways of thinking of this than I think what people are used to doing. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you. Now, feedback. I want to give a little lesson on overall business, how that affects us, and your feedback from your numbers.
Right, great. So I know you're looking at it from the perspective of feedback from clients. So what does the research say most people misunderstand about feedback?
So the research, and we're using Harvard Business Review research to back these conversations, shows that the biggest problem with feedback is that people don't have the right perspective for it, right? So we've all had that time you get your first negative comment or something, and you think, oh no, where'd I go wrong? I have to completely redo the system or approach how I do something like that. And that's not the truth. That's just the perspective, emotional perspective. So just like you were saying, if you see something once, it's one-off. Twice, maybe something's going there. But when you see it 3 times, right, then we understand that there is something in your business that you need to improve somehow.
That's so true. And if feedback isn't always reliable, how should business owners actually use it to grow?
So I love this, right? Because a lot of people also talk about how engagement is issues. So people aren't telling you feedback, right? And it's not reliable. How are you going to go about using it to grow? So I think knowing your numbers is a big way of knowing the truth of that, right? If you have a one-off comment and your numbers aren't affecting anything at all, then you know the truth of it is that was a one-off thing and you can go forward with it. So if you really build your systems as a business owner, you have a system to check back the experience to see whether or not you should use this kind of comment to grow, or if it's something you should shove aside and tell them, I'm so sorry you had trouble experience, and we'll reach out to you personally, but not necessarily change your entire business for it.
I think that's a great way to validate the feedback that you're getting, is to, again, look at your numbers and see what they're showing. So what's one simple practice someone can implement to start applying this immediately?
So we talk about this all the time. We need a habit of reviewing. I love how you talk about having like a ritual to come to things. A lot of people I talk to say they have like admin day, which is the day they're going to log in and check all the comments on Instagram. They're going to check all the emails. They're going to see what's going on. And I think that's the big thing, is that if you have that continued habit, if it's once a month, 2 times a month, 3 times a month, whatever fits for you in your own business, then that's going to be how you can start really applying this mindset and this perspective and identifying whether or not this is something that needs to be addressed or if it's an opportunity.
I think that's a great point, that feedback isn't just a one and done, one-time thing. If you're going to use it to grow, you really need to keep looking at it and ritualize it. It's a great point, Jessica. Thank you so much for your time today.
Well, thank you so much. I love this topic very much. As always, I absolutely love doing these CEO days with you.
Thank you. You too.
I know we definitely all need to reevaluate our finances after the third space open, and we